Hello guys, welcome back. Hope everyone's been doing well. Now before we start this video, I wanted to thank you guys so much because our channel has actually been growing quite a bit over the past few weeks, and that's all because of your support. So I wanted to thank you for that. I hope there's lots of growth to come. I can keep putting out content for you guys and we keep growing as guitarists together. Now today's video, I want to talk to you guys about chord progressions. Now, I know a lot of you guys like the classic, A minor, G major, F major, E major chord progression, the classic Spanish chord progression, which is what we're going to be building off of today as well. The twist here is today I'm going to be teaching you some advanced chords, so some alternatives, still the same chords, it's still A minor, G major, F major, and E major, but these are just some alternative chords that you can use, which take it from that old boring sound, not boring, it's a nice sound for the original chords, but it might get a little bit boring after playing it, hundreds and thousands of times, to some alternative chord sounds which sound a lot more mysterious and a lot spicier. I'll give you guys a demo so you see what I'm talking about, but I think this will benefit you a lot in terms of putting a little bit of variety to your playing. So without further ado guys, let's get into the demo. Now keep in mind that I do have the capo on the second fret here, just because one, for beginners, it's a lot easier to do these chords with the stretches on the second fret, and also because I think it sounds a little bit nicer once it's taken a little bit higher up. That's my personal opinion. You can use these chord shapes anywhere that you like, but for this video, everything's going to be capo second fret. All right, let's do the demo. Now, that was quite short. It was just one round of the sequence, but you can see I used different chords. I did transitions in between them to get to the next chords, and of course finished on the tonic chord of A minor. Different picking styles with this as well, but I'll teach you how to do it with this version. This has also been on my Instagram shorts, Instagram reels and YouTube shorts before. I got a lot of good feedback, which is actually why I decided to make this video on it today. So without further ado, let's go into the next section and look at the chords and actually how you can play them. Okay, so our first chord is A minor, 9 flat 6th. Now I know that sounds like a whole lot of gibberish when I say it out loud, but it's actually a lot to do with the theory and the background of that. You don't need to know a lot of that to play, but it's interesting concept, so I will be explaining it in later videos. But to play this chord, now I will have a diagram coming up the top here. So 5th fret, got our A there. This one here on the pinky. We got the ring finger on the same fret. This is quite difficult, same fret, but on the 3rd string as our middle finger. It looks like they're on different frets right now from your point of view, but from where I'm playing it, they're on same fret, so the same level, but they're just different strings. And finally, index finger on the F, 3rd fret of 4th string. And if you do the strings one by one, you get I didn't play this last one. I mean, it's still a part of the chord, but it sounds nicer to just go. So it's very important that for this one, it's a big stretch. So I would recommend that you try to arch your hand as much as you can. If you can't get it, bring your hand physically forward so it's more arched on the fretboard. And obviously don't hold that position for too long because it's going to start to hurt your hands a little bit. Now, from this position, so we had our A chord here, A minor. If you move this shape down once and move it down again, your finger, your ring finger naturally just falls back on the fret because it can't stay on the same fret as the middle finger anymore because the fret gaps are way too much at this point. You get the new chord, which is a G6. Again, I didn't play the 1st string there, but get this position. It's the same position. The only thing that's changed is that the ring finger has come down a fret, so now it's actually below. So it looked like it was below before, but it wasn't. Now it actually is. You get the G6 chord. Next chord, so different position shape now. First index finger goes on the F here. Our ring finger goes on the C here, 3rd fret of A string or the 5th string. And then middle finger here goes on this A or 2nd fret of 3rd string. I would recommend not playing this second string or this first string here. So just keep it to the first top 4 strings. Oh, sorry. Again, I played it wrong. Top 4. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And with this one, just make sure this D string here, this, what is it? This 4th string here is actually no fingers down. So the middle finger is going on the 3rd string. So that one's actually nothing on it, but it's still a part of the chord. And finally, the last chord, E, sus, 4, flat 9. Again, big name with this one. The other ones had smaller names just due to the theoretical side of things. You get this shape. It's kind of like a D major, but you've moved it over twice. So if you start with your D major here, you move it over, and you move it over again, you get an E sus 4 flat 9. Now this, every note is a part of this one, but you'll probably just play the top part of it where you actually got the fingers down. So this is very close. This is leading. This is like begging to lead to E major right now. So when you get to the end of it, or whatever the pattern is, and then you gotta go. So that's your ending. It's got to be E sus 4 flat 9, E major, and I'll teach you a pattern which you can use with it as well. And finally, you want to end on. That's if you're not repeating the progression. You can repeat it as many times as you want, and then but finally finish on a full A chord to be nice and strong. So as I said before, you have the freedom to play this however you like, with whatever picking, whatever style. You can strum it, you can do whatever you want. I mean, don't recommend you to strum it, but this picking pattern that I used, that one that I use, I think is the best style for this, because I've tried some other ones and I've seen some other people do the one that I'm doing and it sounds quite nice. So I'm going to teach you that one. You start with P on the bass note, so P as in thumb, and then you take it to the next string, so 6th string, 5th string, and then after that, so you got 6, 5, index on 3rd, and then your thumb actually goes on the 4th, so your thumb's moving quite a bit here. So we got 6, 5, 3, 4 so far, and then after, middle finger on the 2nd string, which is open here, so you got, and then you use the index finger to play the 3rd string again, so going from the top, and then the final bit, thumb on 4th string, so you got, and the last note, index 3rd. So if you put that all together, 6, 5, 4, sorry, one more time, 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, and then you repeat it. Same thing for the next chord, for the G6 chord. Now for the F chord, you can still do the same thing actually. I was gonna say you could do it everything a step down, but it actually sounds quite nice when you go. Because you get this note, which I did tell you to not play this before, but it actually sounds quite spicy when it's put into action and when it's played a little bit faster. So, I mean, contradicting advice, but feel free to use this one as well. And finally, with the E sus chord, I'm not gonna say the full name, you only do it once, and then you do a Rasgueado's technique. I taught this in the last video, so if you don't know how to do this, I'll link the video and actually go watch that one, because I don't want to explain the full thing in this video. But then you got 1 E sus 4, and then you finish on an A minor. So we had, for the first one, we had 2 rounds. You repeat that again, and then you can go to the next one, and then you go to the next one. So you repeat each one of these twice, but then for the last one, once, and then rasgueados, and then you can just finish nice like that. We can do a little rasgueado technique like that. I would just finish nice and soft because this is a quite soft progression. Okay, so now it's actually time to put the two parts that we've learned together. So we learned the right hand part, which is the finger picking, and then the chords on the left hand. So we're gonna do a slow run through this first, then we'll do it at actual speed. Now, when I played this in the demo, I actually used, so I did that little walking, descending bass line. For now, let's ignore that. Let's try to just get the first thing down, and then in the next section, I'll give you some little tips about how to do that. All right, ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Excuse my Rasgueado here. It sounds a lot nicer when it's done faster, so it was a little trembly there when I did it in a slow one. But now let's try to do it at full speed, so it's going to be around, oops, like that. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so now that we've done everything, I wanted to talk about some additional things. And the first one was how you can loop this. So you got your first chord, second chord, third chord. And then when you get to the Esus, so this is the alternative version where you want to go back into it. You would go one time Esus. But then instead of doing the Rasgueado, you would just do the same finger pattern one time on the E major. So it would be... go back into this and loop it over as many times as you want, and when you want to finish, you know, you can do the Rasgueado or do another technique, just strum it. It doesn't really matter how you finish, just the Rasgueado I thought would be something nice and a little soothing to bring it to a nice and calm ending. The other thing which I wanted to talk about here was, so I mentioned this in the last bit of the video, when I did this, so this little walking bass line. Now, this is nothing complicated, so don't be scared of it. It sounds very beautiful, but it's nothing actually that hard. So when we finish our first round, so instead of doing the extra, that last two notes, we go. You can see how I'm still holding down the chord position. So I'm going did, din, and then. Obviously, but you see, instead of doing those last two notes on the original finger picking pattern that I taught you, I do the, and then with this one it's a little different. So I do one, because there's only one note between this and the next bass. So with the other ones it was two notes in between. Since it's only one note, I go one and whatever the ending might be. So 2 for this one, and then just, so there's lots of ways you can do this. You know, you can mess with this walking bass line quite a bit, even if you were to go back, you know. do that. But I don't recommend doing these really complicated things if you're a beginner and you're just trying to make this sound nice, because if you go a little bit overboard, this can actually go the other way and, you know, sound quite, you know, bad when it's all messed up and you're trying to get from one bass line to another and you're not getting the chords correctly and everything. So first get your chords down and then work on adding these little ornaments, which all build on top of your original foundation to make it sound a lot nicer. Alright guys, so that's it for the ending of this lesson. I hope you did actually find this useful, because this is one of the posts that I usually talk about, like, you know, patterns and like arpeggios and whatever, but I don't usually talk about chord progressions, and this was one of the first ones I did on my Instagram and I got a lot of good feedback. So, you know, I couldn't wait to share this with you on YouTube. And obviously all the other content is here on full version. Everything that you see on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, there's long form coming out. Either it's being published or I'm working on it to help you guys understand more step by step, especially for those who are beginners. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you did, please make sure you leave me a comment if there's any questions, anything. And if you did, just give it a like and a subscribe. That would really help support this channel. Thank you so much, guys. Once again, thank you for going over 500 subscribers. I recorded the first bit of this video yesterday, and until now we've reached around like 50, 60 more subscribers. So, you know, I can't thank you guys enough for this. Thank you so much. Enjoy practicing. See you in the next video.